I'm super excited to have all three of you on the show today because not only do we have an agency being represented by two folks in two cities, but we also have someone from the client of this project, which is Rob. And Rob, if you can introduce yourself first, then we can jump over the Rethink folks, please.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Rob Daintree, and I lead consumer marketing communications here at TELUS.
Awesome. And then Leia, is it Leia?
Yeah, it's Leia.
Okay.
I'm Leia Rogers, and I'm an ECD and partner at Rethink. I also sit on our global leadership team, and I'm based in Vancouver, BC.
Madam.
And I am Elyse Sanders, and I lead the strategy team for Rethink Vancouver, and I'm based in Kelowna, BC.
Nice. Okay, so Rethink, give me the overview and our whole audience, because there's a global audience for this show and there's people all over the world that are interested, I hope, in how Canadians approach creative problems in marketing. So let's paint the picture of kind of like the composure of Rethink and your geo dispersion, because you're in a couple different cities. We said 4 cities across Canada Rethink has a presence, right?
Yes, 3 in Canada: Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, and we've opened an office in New York as well. So we've got about 400 plus rethinkers across Canada and the US now. But Rethink began in Vancouver, where I'm based. Uh, it's about, we're in our 25th year now. So we just celebrated 25 years. And we are a full service creative ideas agency. We provide everything from, strategy, creative, digital, design, PR, and production for our clients globally and nationally here in Canada. And we are still independently owned and operated. So in my 15 years at Rethink, from when it was one office in Vancouver to what it is today, it's grown exponentially, but it's remained the same in a lot of ways. And we've managed to stay sort of true to our independent spirit through the years. And I've had the privilege in my 15 years to kind of witness that over the last 15 years as we've opened offices. That's pretty special. So that's Rethink in a nutshell.
Rob, similarly for kind of like people outside of Canada that don't know the brand TELUS, paint the picture of the 5,000 industries that you guys are in.
It's simply pretty close, actually. So TELUS is one of Canada's largest technology telecommunications companies. Nationally or domestically, we offer coast-to-coast coverage from a high-speed internet perspective, as well as mobility, along with a suite of other home-based technology services like smart home security, online security, smart energy solutions, and then also offer an array of health products globally, along with a growing agriculture business, as well as a global expanding TELUS digital business as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Like you guys have health clinics. You actually provide healthcare to people, like jabbing them with needles, TELUS needles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And power the Wi-Fi. It's amazing. Okay, so also TELUS is a Western Canadian company. No, did you not
Yep.
come from BC originally?
Yep, proudly headquartered in Vancouver, but servicing the entire country, coast to coast to coast.
And how did the relationship between your two organizations come about? Was it something to do with this, like this Western Canadian vibe?
I think it was a journey like a lot of companies go on, where you eventually take a look at your partner models, and you want to really take a look at who is best suited to take you where you want to go from a brand perspective, from a consumer marketing perspective. So we went down this journey together with Rethink a couple of years ago, and welcomed them to the TELUS family, and it's been a great relationship ever since.
That's amazing. So is Rethink essentially, would you call it the agent of record for TELUS across your whole business, or what's the nature of your relationship?
Yeah, so we operate in a multi-agency environment here at TELUS. But when you look at how our organization is divided into business units, Rethink would represent our agency of record for our home solutions business. So basically anything within the home,
Okay.
Rethink will be supporting us when it comes to core strategy, creative development, creative execution, when it comes to that sizable portion of products that we have to offer Canadians.
Oh man, that's exciting. You guys do fun stuff, I'm sure, every day together. That's great. And so this particular project that we're gonna kind of jump into, I guess I would love to hear the kind of background on what. Give me the story. How did it come about? Before we jump into what it is, like just in terms of like any other projects that you guys had, from this couple of year history of working together in the space in this particular channel, to then the evolution of this specific campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I can lead us off, team, and feel free to top up. This would be probably one of the first projects that we had done together, following the successful awarding of the business to our friends at Rethink. The overall background behind the campaign itself was really born from a fairly significant change to our competitive landscape, especially in Western Canada, and so with that came the anticipation of very aggressive media investments competitively, very aggressive pricing, competitive dynamics being introduced. And so we took a step back in terms of how we go to market with our high-speed internet product, TELUS Pure Fiber Internet, to find new and different ways of taking some of that competitive changing dynamics head on and doing something a little bit differently from where we've historically marketed the product before, with a slightly more human, contextual, relevant stance, while also being very true to the TELUS brand, which is, as we all know, nationally celebrated for being very friendly and being very rooted in critters and nature and in lifestyle. So that's what led us to the overall campaign and some of the great results that we were able to generate.
Do you guys want to do this? You want to look through some of the assets that you've sent over, and then you can kind of like walk us through what they are, and talk about the campaign from looking at it?
Thank you for your time.
Wow.
Thank you, Kendra.
Tim, you're up.
Good morning. So I think really our focus is...
You're frozen.
Are we freezing? No, not today. Not today. Where are my numbers go? If you hear nothing else I say, I am going to let you down. You want to go with Kendra?
Yes.
Poor cable internet connection.
When the stakes are high, why rely on cable internet? Switch to TELUS Pure Fiber, Canada's most reliable internet technology.
Here we go. Group A or Group B?
2A, 1B.
Allergies, B's.
Next kid.
Hey.
Application is done, just waiting for the submit window. Whatever happens, I love you.
Oh my gosh, I'm feeling good about this.
They're in. Oh, yes.
Poor cable internet connection. We're not in.
When the stakes are high, why rely on cable internet? Switch to TELUS Pure Fiber, Canada's most reliable internet technology.
Walk me through this. What I saw were two spots that seem to be prepared for television. Maybe not. Maybe it's the internet, but video. A couple of videos saying that basically fiber is fast and will change your life in those crucial moments. And one more thing, pitting fiber against cable. So tell me a little bit about that. Rob, you could paint the kind of picture from like what the business problem was that you were trying to solve. I know you said competitive landscape and the pricing economics maybe on media spend, but then anything else from the business side that frames the kind of like creative problem?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and maybe I'll take a bit of a step back and just speak to the technology itself. So when it comes to fixed high-speed internet, there's largely two options available. There's a fiber technology and a traditional cable internet technology. Now, fiber technology is celebrated as the best internet technology out there. It offers really truly unmatched speeds. It offers symmetrical speeds, meaning you can upload things as fast as you download, which is perfect for things like video conferencing, which is what we're doing right now, or things like that gaming. It's also the most sustainable internet technology out there. So it's very socially purposely driven, which is great, which is core to who we are as TELUS as well. And it's without a doubt the most reliable internet technology on the planet. And so historically, we, as many telecommunications companies do, you go to market with a lot of claim-based advertising. That's been very, very successful for us in the past. And but again, when you think about that changing dynamic and the fact that there was going to be so much competitive noise in market from a media investment perspective, we knew that was going to be coming, as well as a lot of aggression from a pricing perspective we anticipated. We really wanted to pin the two technologies head to head in a very human, very emotional, very relevant way to try and highlight that when there are these high stakes moments, when you need your internet to work, you need to be choosing the technology that is the most reliable, which is TELUS Pure Fiber. So that was the business background that went into things. I'm sure Elyse and Leia can do a better job of explaining the creative and the strategic direction, but from a business perspective, that's a bit about where we were and how we've typically marketed the product to why we wanted to change things up last year.
Yeah. So just to build on that, when Rob and the team came to us with this challenge of how do we really help people understand that pure fiber is truly a premium offering relative to the cable alternative, we had a lot of discussions around, what is the best strategic approach to do that? And to the point that he was making around claims-based advertising, you definitely see a lot of that in the telco space, brands talking about how I'm fast, I'm faster, I'm the fastest, and really relying on like technical superiority. And what we were seeing in the research is that that just wasn't necessarily landing with people. It wasn't truly helping to differentiate the two products. People largely thought that, internet's kind of a commoditized thing and it works and that's all I need. And they weren't really understanding the value and paying for a more premium offering. So with Rethink, we like to approach every brief, every project with, what is the thing that we're rethinking here? What's the status quo that we want to challenge? And so we really started to talk about that shift from relying on claims to demonstrate our technical superiority to more so demonstrating like what does superiority mean in human terms? What does it actually mean to you in your day-to-day life rather than just continuing to talk about how we're the fastest and how we're the most reliable. That's an important part of the story, but it's not the whole story. So we started to think about that. What does superiority mean in human terms? And we started to play a little bit more in the negative space of not just what does it mean to have a better connection, but actually what does it feel like when your connection lets you down? And that led to a whole range of interesting creative ideas, but that was really kind of the crux of the brief is what does it feel like when your internet is actually worse and letting you down in these moments, and kind of pitting cable internet versus fiber against each other in a really clear and explicit way that is actually going to break through and resonate with people beyond just the technical superiority side of things.
Yeah, so I like that idea of humanizing the problem that, is in front of people to let them understand the implications of a purchase decision or otherwise. What I guess are there corollaries with the history of TELUS's branding or marketing approaches in the past, or any lessons to be learned from historical campaigns that the brand has undertaken?
I think there's a couple of lessons. One is just, it's such a beloved brand. TELUS is obviously the brand that is helping to make the future friendly together with Canadians. And so when we were thinking about how do we get a little bit more competitive in nature, a little bit more comparative in nature, how do you do that within the confines of a brand that's known for being friendly? And so there was a huge tonal conversation as we got into this work to make sure that we were being able to be true to the brand and what it stands for and maintain that friendliness, but also being really clear and explicit around how our product is so much better than the cable alternative. So, taking the best of what the brand's known for and that familiarity and the friendliness and the critters, but bringing it to life in a very fresh and different way so that we'd be able to break through and really shift those perceptions.
Yeah, but what I meant...
Been a delicate... Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
Say it's been a delicate balance, though. Protecting what's core to the brand and that is known and loved so much,
right?
And tapping into human truths that you need to talk about home services.
Right.
So the brand is using both real life situations, live action, and still retaining we call them the critters, like the animals that people so strongly associate with the brand.
Okay, wait,
but
again,
in the right places.
Pause on there. Explain this, because critters has come up a couple times. For people unfamiliar outside of Canada, unfamiliar with the brand TELUS, what do you mean by critters, and how is that legacy aesthetic associated with your with the brand TELUS? Like, what's the story there?
Rob, do you want to take this part and then I can add on?
Yeah, no, for sure. So the use of critters or animals in our advertising has been part of our brand ethos and brand ecosystem for the past 25 years. They were originally introduced, like I said, 25 years ago to help make technology seem less maybe threatening or less daunting by introducing something very cuddly and very cute and whatnot. So that's been really core to the brand in terms of a key brand identifier. That alongside with our white backgrounds that we often will produce our assets on. The use of music's been really critical and core to who we've been as a brand over the last 2 decades. And so our ability or our requirement, call it, to maintain a degree of that resonance from a core brand identifier perspective was really carefully taken under consideration with something like this, when you need to be leveraging live action or using real people to help tell a more impactful human story. And so you would have seen that come through in the execution themselves. We call it a bookending approach, where you open on your core brand identifier in a critter and you end on it as well. And we saw some really great research results in terms of brand link, where by applying this type of a formula, our brand link actually went up, which was really great to see. Sorry, Leah, if I stole some of your thunder there, but I just thought it was important to touch on that one.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, this is the thing. So I think, the Canadians associate TELUS products and marketing with the icons of these images. And you're right, on white background, everyone knows that it's a TELUS ad. But that's interesting. If people can already be primed as consumers for being receptive to a message because of the iconography, it's powerful. And it's something you've relied on, like you said, for 25 years. So this approach of moving to live action, is this new for the brand with this campaign?
I feel like the brand has dabbled in live action over the years in different ways, shapes, and forms. How it was expressed through this campaign did feel new, and it did feel different in terms of just really going hard and pitting our technology against another competitor's technology, and the storytelling around that. But the brand had dabbled in live action before. And I think what was like the magic formula for this is that by taking this newer approach and pitting the two technologies against each other, pairing that with a critter, we were able to achieve huge breakthrough, but also maintain the brand link and kind of get the best of both worlds in that scenario.
Just to clarify here, and then I want to hear about the larger identity of and wait, what are we calling this campaign? What's the name of it? Is there a name?
We're calling it When the Stakes Are High, You Can't Rely on Cable Internet.
That's a great, succinct title. Okay. High stakes. Yeah, we need a title to put on the episode, High stakes. I like that. Okay, so question, actually let me come back to this kind of narrative questions and aesthetics, but and even market positioning. But what was the composure of the campaign? I guess was this something that's just comes out of kind of organic discussion because you're chosen as the agency and now we're saying, okay, let's roll up our sleeves. Was this from Rob and his team saying we want to do something different and specifically we want to kind of our biggest problem is people don't understand why cable sucks. We need to actually let them know how and why. What was the kind of MO or brief, if that was structured that way, or otherwise was it more organic?
Yeah, in terms of the brief, like I was saying, the insight that we really wanted to hone in on is to help people understand the consequences of just choosing good enough internet in those high stakes moments. And so that was kind of the the direction to the creative team. And then Leia and team explored a whole range of different high stakes moments that we could tap into throughout the campaign, ranging from moments that, truly like these are capital H high stakes, like lives are on the line, like the way forest firefighters or 911 operators, like these people truly, truly rely on great internet and high stakes moments, to more, call it like playful and friendly high stakes moments, like getting your kids into summer camp or getting them into swimming lessons, and sort of that whole spectrum in between. But the core direction from the brief was really just helping people understand, like, good enough isn't good enough, and there are going to be consequences if you opt for a cable rather than fiber. So that was the way in, and then Leah and team sort of really fleshed it out from there.
I can speak to that. This we talk a lot about, setting the conditions for great ideas, and that really comes from the client brief, and then what turns into our creative brief. And a great sign that the conditions are there for good work is a look on a creative's face when they're briefed. And I think the ideas were sort of jumping off the page. We were getting really targeted, not only about what we were saying in our messaging, getting really succinct, but who we were talking to as well. And when we've got a list of, RTBs and messages and, 3 target groups added to the brief, we know we're going to have a tough time. But this was a tight, sharp brief from the start. And so I don't want to say it was easy, but it was easier to get to ideas that we knew would land. And I think especially because we've worked, in the space for so long with technology, it's hard because the creative's job isn't to just connect. It's also to explain. And when something is complicated, like why fiber is better, and we have to get into upload speeds being higher and latency and things like that.
Yeah.
Starts to get too complex, and the what starts to overtake the why I need this. And so when we get really targeted with a specific, or like for instance with swim camp, it's a very specific group. We're us 3, we have young kids, we know what it's like on that day that you have to register, just how nervous, that cutthroat. We know how high stakes that feels. It could affect your whole summer, your whole year, whether your kid can swim. But through this small group, we can also connect to people that are trying to get Taylor Swift tickets, or they're trying to get the provincial campsites in the summer. We know that those are the moments where this technology makes a difference. And that's all we have to show. We don't have to get into the why. We've got other places we can talk about that. But to really relate in that way that feels relevant and true, it's not a lot of, especially broadcast briefs, get us there quickly. And so that's what we were so excited about with this work, is like, we can talk about technology today versus, internet problems 10 years ago when your YouTube video lagged. And it's like, well, technology is rising, and, you could have slower internet and your YouTube video might not lag anymore, but you're not going to get the Taylor Swift tickets. Your Zoom call is going to go down on you when you're in an important job interview. You don't get the ticket. Those are the moments that it matters. So we have to prove to people that that this superior technology will make a difference in their life.
Yeah.
And I think that that just being really making choices with a brief is really hard to do. And making tough choices to get really, really singular with your messaging to a really specific group, and really hitting and connecting with that group in a meaningful way is so much more valuable than sweeping, what can turn into wallpaper ideas when you just have to list off all the reasons why the technology is better.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Functional positioning is like
yeah.
very difficult for a mass
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, I'm going to ask this because I think it's like something that's an obvious question, okay? And audience members would probably want to know. The discrepancy between the two technologies is obviously, shall we say, in Canada, since, unless you guys have laid cables recently, but like a decade problem, maybe 10 years, this has been an issue. Like people having the choice between cable and fiber optics in Canada for their internet at home. Like how long has TELUS been in market with, whether it was branded pure fiber or just fiber optics for home internet?
I mean, Rob, keep me on. I would say at least 10 years.
It's
Like
been
TELUS slowly started to roll out fiber optic technology community by community over Western Canada, specifically BC and Alberta,
Okay.
at least 10 years ago in terms of when the first like wire went into the ground. I'm not entirely positive,
So-
but it's definitely it's not brand new, to your point.
Yeah, so the question I have is how this concept is connecting for the first time with the people you're advertising it to, and what the kind of like prime has been for audiences leading to this point in making the decision, if they see it as a decision. Perhaps it's never been a decision, until they see this kind of messaging for the first time with this campaign.
Yeah, I think part of it is just like the relevance and the truth of the execution, where if you're telling people our technology is better, our technology is faster, our technology is more reliable,
Right.
They'll hear that and they'll perhaps understand that. But I think through this work they felt that.
Oh, yeah.
When we started talking about the notion of getting your kids into summer camp, we have a mom Slack channel and we were talking about it, and so many moms started to say, oh my gosh, this is triggering to me. We launched this in the moment of summer camp registration season where it was just so top of mind.
Yeah.
So I think people saw this and they felt it more so than they understood it, which
Right.
is perhaps the big shift in this campaign.
Yeah.
If anyone's been on an important job interview and you're buffering and you can't really communicate with the person who's interviewing you, like you feel that.
Oh, for sure.
viscerally. So
It's visceral, yeah.
As much of a shift of technical superiority to human superiority as it was from functional messaging to emotional messaging.
Right.
And we know that that's going to be more impactful and effective every single time. So
Yeah.
that was, I think, what really led to such powerful results here is people they saw it and they felt it deeply. It was so relevant and so true for them.
Okay, so let's talk functionally, not about technical relevancies of internet bandwidth and stuff, routing technologies and things, but let's talk about the actual campaign. So what was the composure of the campaign in terms of reach, format, channels? I get the message positioning, but how did you go to market with it?
Yes, it was a full funnel campaign. So across the entire spectrum of the funnel, predominantly focused on Western Canada, being Alberta, BC.
Okay.
Although we have taken the platform and extended it into a national application, which is, I think, proof to the success and the performance of the platform overall. Included everything from linear broadcast TV, CTV, OLV, right down to consideration types of tactics out of home, very contextual out of home. Leia can probably do a much better job of me than highlighting some of those really perfectly suited contextual moments where we're just showing up in people's lives when, again, there's a high stakes moment where they just need their internet to work, and then getting into hard hitting, more conversion type tactics, which also helped us understand the impact from a business performance perspective.
But that's cool. Okay, so tell if there's any anecdotal kind of stories of, even if it's like a visual, like an aesthetic narrative arc from a video spot that someone might have seen to, like a moment where they're like, I don't know, on the highway or leaving work and it says, I don't know, a watch and it says you won't make it home in time, but you could have emailed or, like, I don't know, like how did you manifest this?
Yeah. So you probably noticed in the front end of both spots, we have the visual of the fiber versus the cable. So we leveraged that across assets, across digital, social, out of home. And that became the visual connection back to the spots, was just a simple comparison with like, fun, smart headlines that compare the two. So for example, you've got fiber, it might say something like zoom, zoom. On over cable, it says zoom doom. So
Okay.
just these like little quick, fun headlines. So we got those out. We got really contextual, like on highways near provincial campgrounds. You may not have got that spot that you wanted that year. You get hit with that messaging.
Oh, that's
Contextually
cool.
based on where you are.
Right.
It could be a restaurant that's known for being impossible to get the spots, to get reservations and things. So it's got this campaign's really got legs, and we're really excited for just all the opportunity as things pop up. What's the next sort of Taylor Swift moment going to be where we can prove out that you need TELUS in a moment like that. So we love a campaign that gives us the ability to tap into timely things, get culturally relevant in those moments, and show up where people are already talking about something so important that better technology could help with. So it's got those legs, and
Yeah.
we're excited to just see where we can take it.
Oh, this could be, this conceptually is like the groundwork for a greenfield, approach to brand expression, right? It's not necessarily limited to just a single campaign. And is that what I'm hearing? That there's no end date to this campaign? This is something that will keep continuing for the time being, at least? Or is this like, this is just until winter and then it's something else?
Yeah, the notion of high stakes was extended to a national proposition as well last year. Like any brand, you address the business needs as they come. So I can't speak with certainty right now that this is going to be extended into the future, but certainly at the time felt it was very much required, and definitely over delivered in terms of the brief that went into the Rethink team.
So let's talk about
And I think
go for it.
what's cool about it too is when you land on an idea that's so clear, even internally, how that manifests at Rethink is people are all well aware that TELUS is wanting to stand for these high stakes moments. So we'll have creative teams coming to us to say, hey, did you know this highly coveted camp spot in BC is about to open up tomorrow? So everyone's going to be online at 9 a.m. trying to get it. Let's immediately get social post up or something up to be able to be relevant in that moment. And I think because there's such a clear understanding of the idea and the platform, and to the point Leah was making earlier, it's not got so many layers to it that it's so hard to wrap your head around, that the creative teams and all of our teams internally really rally around it and help to identify like, hey, this could be a great relevant contextual moment for us to show up with a high stakes message, which has been cool to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's when you hit on something that's like, not only is it easy to understand, but it's easy to own. And it's easy to own because you can communicate it, right? No one wants to own anything they can.
Yeah, and what else was really interesting, again, just to see the power and impact of this type of an approach is, as I said earlier, we represent the consumer side of our business, but we had other parts of the organization on our business side saying, hey, is it possible to leverage some of these assets to talk to our business owner community as well? Because they also need, when the stakes are high, a very reliable, capable, industry-leading internet connection. So we actually had them, proactively coming to us to say, we love what you guys are doing. Can we also apply it over here to this other part of our business?
Yeah, that's exciting. When it becomes viral on both sides, right? The agency's excited about it. The client's excited about it. Everyone's excited about it. That's awesome. How do you measure? And again, everyone looks at each campaign differently, right? From both sides of the table. But like, how do you measure impact for this campaign? Like, were there... again, I don't know if there's an ROI expectation of this, because this is really just about like making sure, I don't know, you tell me. I don't want to load it too much to say that like we had to meet our targets in that quarter because cable people aren't converting quick enough, and it's net new that we need? Or how did you kind of like look at, as TELUS, like measuring impact on a campaign like this? And then at the same time, flip side is like, how do you deliver statistics on impact in any way from the agency side?
Yeah, so from a business perspective, we measure all of our campaign activity both from a, call it, brand perception perspective, as well as driving down to conversion, and core business loading outcomes performance as well. And so from a brand perception standpoint, we're always looking at ways to try and ensure that we are delivering the message that our technology is more reliable, is better suited for you versus that of the competition. So that perception is always going to be measured on a quarterly basis. And then of course, when you do campaigns like this, you're actually managing the efficacy of the campaign's ability to shift those perceptions. So that would be number one.
Right.
Number two is overall, are we increasing consideration for TELUS Pure Fiber Internet versus baseline? And so that's another one that we also measure ongoing, as well as when we have campaigns like this in flight. And then last but not least, of course, what we look at is overall business volumes. And so did we see an increase in overall business outcomes in terms of order volumes,
Mm-hmm.
as well as what was the efficiency of those volumes? Were we able to see a decrease in the cost of acquisition? We always talk about creative being the new performance, in terms of, really great creative is going to drive a far more efficient result for you from a business perspective. And we certainly saw that in this case as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think the other, yeah, just to like paint a picture of how big of a challenge it was from the onset too. The vast majority of people make their decision about their internet based on price versus speed. Like it comes down to price. And so the fact that this campaign was able to achieve the best performing Q2 of TELUS on record it just says huge things, especially during a context where the inflationary environment was what it was, and it's just speed was not the driving factor for people.
Wait. See, this is what I wanted to hear. You just said the best performing Q2 on record for TELUS. What percentage of that are you talking about, segment, or are you talking about the company? And to what degree is this home internet a participant in that story?
Yeah, I would say this was the most successful internet campaign this organization has delivered to market, which led to the best performing high speed loading quarter.
Wow.
In this company's history.
And also major shifts in perceptions. I mean, we all know how hard it is to shift people's perceptions, especially when it's a product that's not necessarily new to market. And we saw huge shifts in perceptions of people agreeing that fiber is superior to cable internet, and also huge bumps in consideration. So it impacted, the business, and it also impacted how people fundamentally think about the product at the end of the day. So yeah, really, really powerful results, which was incredible to see.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, and then on the efficiency side as well, as I said, I think as marketing leaders, we're all looking at ways to drive more efficiency out of our very precious A&P budgets. And a true testament to this campaign's impact was its ability to drive remarkably efficient loading outcomes for the business based, again, on our performance dollars that were associated to this campaign. The percentage decrease that we were able to actually realize was 47% decrease in our cost of acquisition versus the previous period, which again just speaks to the
so is
impact
that
of the overall.
So is that 8% gross? Like, what I mean is the 8% 40%? Like, sorry, I know we're talking like publishable stats, right? This isn't like real numbers, but the idea is that, like, if the campaign has driven down your cost of user acquisition and driven up your gross revenue in segment, like it's super performing.
It definitely delivered on
amazing.
It delivered on all metrics. It supported the top line growth overall in terms of that 8% bump in high speed order volumes in quarter, which was one of the best ever.
And if you're talking about like
very efficiently.
Yeah, and the efficiency part of that is reducing friction on the sell, right? Because your customer is educated to their purchase decision. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, they're coming in and far more likely to purchase based on being exposed to the creative and having a very strong belief and a very strong degree of consideration for choosing us.
That's exciting. And it makes everyone feel proud at TELUS, I'm sure, that like people get it, you know? You get it. We're just trying to help you. Fiber's better, man.
Get your kids into summer camp.
Fiber's the best. Nailed that job interview. Fiber's the best. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, guys. Well, thanks for taking time to share this case with me because I think it's pretty exciting.